Hey everybody, it's Ben. Welcome to Church Free Spirituality for this week. So a couple weeks ago I shared with you an experience from my jury duty when I went to practice loving in the midst of jury duty, and I learned that I had some hidden prejudice within myself that I was able to clear out. A couple weeks before that we also talked about demonstration, about how not only does the universe demonstrate to us, but we have to demonstrate back to the universe by showing up in what we want, by showing up how we want. And so I want to bring both of those things back today, because another lesson that I had from that experience of jury duty was really to make it clear to me how we relate to people is how people relate back to us. Now, I'd always known this intellectually from all of my spiritual practices and spiritual work that I've done. I know that the universe is reciprocal, meaning that the universe gives back to me what I give out. I get what I give. It responds by corresponding. So if I show up with an energy of anger and venom, I'm going to get venom and anger right back. But if I show up in loving and joy is going to be returned to me. Now, that's not always in the exact same situation, but it's an overall experience. So if the majority of your expression in the world is loving and kind and joyful, the majority of what you will receive back is loving, kindness, and joy. If your general way of relating to the world is in grumpiness and upset, then you're going to get a lot of upset and grumpy coming back at you. It's the way the universe shows us what we're doing, shows us where our consciousness is, and it relates to what we do in this country as we debate big major issues. Doesn't matter what side of a big major issue you fall on. Group A says the same thing that Group B does, friends. Group A says Group B is an idiot, you guys are insane and you're ruining our country. And Group B says you guys are idiots, you're insane and you're ruining the country. The words don't matter, the energy behind it is what matters. Each group trying to be louder than the other and shame the other into getting rid of their beliefs so that that group can be dominant. And they get the same thing from each other. It's back and forth the exact same thing, because you get what you give what you get. So it's a good question to look at how we relate to people, how we relate to things, how we show up in experience. I've been working a lot since I had this jury duty experience and saw so clearly how the way I relate to other people impacts how they relate to me, that correspondence in the universe. I've been working a lot on making sure that I do my very best to show up, especially when it's a very big, intense issue like these national debates that we have going on, showing up in a way that is open and loving, making room for other people to have their opinions, not trying to shame or demean them because of their views, and allowing them the space to have their views, even if I completely disagree with them. It's a big task, it's a tall order, and it's really easy to say, well, yeah, good idea, Ben, but like it's going to make any difference. When you've got half the country doing this thing and half the country doing that other thing, if just me, myself, shows up trying to be more loving and joyful, that's not going to change a thing. Well, look up a guy named Daryl Davis. If you haven't heard of Daryl Davis, he showed up, he demonstrated how he wanted to be in the world. He's an African American in the South. He looked at the KKK around him. This is recent stuff, by the way, too. It's not old stuff. It's pretty recent. Looked at the KKK around him and said, how can you hate me if you don't even know me? And he went and showed up to KKK rallies. He met with leaders of the KKK, him, the object of their hate. He showed up in loving, making it safe for them to have their views. And by making it safe for them to have their views, by not trying to shame them into changing their mind, he opened a safe space for them to really see him and understand who he was. And in the process, in the many-year process of building these relationships, he now has a closet full of Klan robes that people gave him when they left the Klan, because he showed up to the world that he wanted to create. Despite the fact that there was so much hate, it was so big, and he was just one guy, he showed up in his loving, making it safe for them to have their views, not trying to change them. Just showing up, saying, this is me. This is the dude that you say you hate. Get to know me a little bit. He effectively ended the Klan in his state. There's documentaries on him on YouTube, just because the one guy showed up in his loving, responding differently than anybody else had around him before. So how are you responding, friends, in the face of these big, giant debates in our country? How are you responding in the face of less big, giant debates in your workplace, in your family, in your extended family? How are you showing up? Is the general experience that you get in certain situations one of anxiety and intensity and uncomfortableness? If so, look at what you're bringing to the table. Look at how you are showing up in that situation. And if you're really willing to see how you're showing up and own it, and intend to show up in a different way the next time, to show up in loving, it'll be hard. You may fail miserably, but you'll have the intention. And every single time you go back with that intention, this time I'm going to be loving, this time I'm going to be kind, this time I'm going to be peaceful, this time I'm going to bring joy. Every single time, the more you do it, the more adept you'll become at it, the better you will be at showing up in that intense situation from a place of loving kindness and openness, and the more it will shift to meet the energy that you bring to it. Friends, this is a corresponding universe. It responds by corresponding. What we put out is what we get back. So anywhere in your life that you're not experiencing what you want, look what you're bringing to the table and see if you can bring something else to that potluck so it's a lot more enjoyable than it has been. Thanks for checking out Church Free Spirituality for this week. Enjoy the practice of looking for where you're not getting what you want and bringing what you want to that situation going forward. Have a wonderful week, friends. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.